Okay, welcome back to Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth. Last time we covered the one-way maze of doom from the third floor of Wonderland, and got a little bit distracted by death while trying to get past one of the painting FOEs, which we'll hopefully get past this time. So, let me just see, did I heal since last time? I think I did. Yeah, pretty sure I did. Okay, so, party. See, we're all about level 5-ish. That is pretty under level for this point in the game, but I think I will swap in some other characters. In fact, let's see. Okay, we've got exactly 4 spots, so one person is going to have to sit this out and remain a little under leveled. Koromaru is still level 5. I do really want a Hummer or Mudor user in the party at all times. However, now that we have a Gartheon, I don't need to have Ken or Koromaru in the party constantly, so maybe let's do this. Let's swap out Yukari, Zed and Ray. I'll just remove you two. I'll need a physical tank, so that's either Junpei or Shinjiro, who... Junpei slightly needs more experience, I guess I'll put him in. And then, let's see, then I can use either... Well, yeah, I guess I can bring all my level 4 characters then, so I'll have 2 physical tanks. Okay, this party might not be the best overall, but we'll try and make it work. Let's just go ahead and do Personas. I think I'll stay on you for the time being. Now, your next skill is Panic Circle. Panic Circle's a pretty nice skill. It's our first circle ability. I guess I'll explain how circle abilities work once we actually start using them. And Shinjiro will obviously go ahead and take, I think, even though McCoy has a lot of my status moves. Problem with having 2 physical powerhouses is, well, I guess one of them could take Slime. And then Yukari, well, you kind of need a Gartheon, although that means I don't have Disarm on me. That's also not great. However, I do want at least one Hummer or Mudor user. But preferably I want that on someone with... You know what I'm going to do here? I'm actually going to swap Ukobak over to Yukari. And have Gary Stu take a Gartheon. Because, yeah, I like having my Hummer or Mudor on someone faster. And in terms of equipment, have I done equipment management for this group yet? Actually, haven't solved this stuff yet. Right, so let's see. There are more weapons, but I'm more concerned with armor right now. Most of us have the best armor we can have, but, Again, I'm not entirely... I guess it's not that big of a loss. It's only 900 yen if I buy this now. So I'll get better armor for you, and Yukari already has good armor. That seems pretty good in the accessories that I can buy. Actually, I don't have any Goho M, do I? No, I don't. I'm actually going to get 2 of those, just to save on trips back here. Medicine, I like to have a few of these sometimes, just in case I'm low on SP. And Revival Beads, I've got 1. I'll get 1 more. I think that should be enough for preparations. And I think, let me just check what personas that I have. Got that Sandman. I really can't make anything in the Velvet Room. Okay. I did go ahead and register everything that I had in my Persona stock that wasn't Slime or Sandman, because they'd override better versions. Anyway, saving now. You know, I actually just realized something. Nobody has... Zen hasn't even learned any elemental skills, has he? Nobody has ice on them at this point, and that's kind of bad if we're dealing with the Beatles. That sounds like I'm talking about the rock band, but no. I am referring, of course, to the Burning Beetle, the extremely annoying enemy in this area. I guess we'll deal with that when we come to it. I definitely still want Pulimpa. Actually, having that on Yukari... so that's the thing with sub-personas. So either I have a Gartheon on you, but that means that I have my status on somebody who's slower and has less luck. Okay, I'm gonna go back on my word and swap these over. Again. Actually... Oh, that's a dilemma because I do really want Panic and Panic Circle. However, you have Ice, and you'll eventually be learning Tentarafu, and you have Disarm. I'm gonna go with you for now, but that could backfire, we'll see.
There are 3 shadows.
Time to rock!
I love that line. Anyway.
I'll finish them off.
Give it all you got, then!
Naturally.
Yeah, not all follow-up attacks were created equal.
Enemies left.
Zen's does a lot of hits, and it's generally one of the better ones, I find. Now, this could end very badly, because that thing just mind-charged. If I get lucky with that, though... just in case things go badly, the rest of us are going to defend this turn. If this gets a knockdown, or if I hit... well, it didn't get a knockdown, so I have to hit with this Panic, otherwise we're in trouble. Oh no. Oh, it decided to skip its turn anyway. That actually makes me even more scared. And I lost boost. Oh, this is not good. Yukari is not fast enough to get Hummer in before it attacks, so it's still not doing anything. The game is having mercy on me. And now it's finally down.
Hang in there, guys!
This is a really useful skill, but like I said before, its main downside is you can only use it in battle. And I'm pretty sure you've already seen this in effect, but when I said earlier that enemies that are knocked down are automatically hit by all attacks, that doesn't count Hummer and Moodle.
I'm ready to cut loose.
Well, everything here is pretty much gone anyway, so let's just go for this. What I was saying is that one thing about this game that I find pretty interesting is that you kind of have to radically switch up your strategies whenever you change sub-personas, which can be fun sometimes.
I've succeeded in bettering myself.
So Zen has finally learned an elemental skill, Frozen Spear. It's effectively the equivalent of a regular Bufu at this point, except it also hits an enemy behind the target on the back row. Now, the interesting thing about Zen and Rei, I think I may have mentioned this earlier. In fact, I don't think I have mentioned this earlier, actually. So one advantage Zen and Rei have is they are some of the better elemental attackers in this game.
An FOE has appeared.
Junpei even has fanfares for FOE showing up. Now that those roses are painted, this thing actually abandoned its patrol route to head backwards, and I got into an encounter again.
Let's do this, Hermes.
Okay, it seems like Hummer on Yukari's not working. I think I'm going to swap the personas again.
Yukari-chan is unconscious.
Hey, hang in there, Yuka-chan.
So one thing that I really like about Junpei and Yukari's interactions in this game is that, I mean...
Damn, my health isn't looking good.
They're not always the best, but... that's quite a bit of SP, but... while they're not always the best... they do snipe at each other a lot, but when it actually comes down to it, like as in when it really matters, they do genuinely show concern for each other. Which is more than can be said of a certain other pair in this game that I'll talk about later. Okay, now we no longer have to paint those roses to get past that FOE, so we can finally head into new territory. But one thing that I was mentioning earlier...
Huh?
Yep, the
There's
painting
something
is
strange
back.
about over there.
That means the rabbit is back. I keep getting interrupted, but what I was saying is that Zen's elemental attacks are a lot more useful than actual magic is, because instead of learning disproportionately overpriced, and here's another shortcut,
Doesn't that wall look a little different from the others?
disproportionately overpriced higher tier elemental spells, he instead learns passive skills that buff his elemental damage without actually raising the SP cost of the attacks. So, later in the game, they'll be the equivalent of Dine level spells, but will only cost the equivalent of first tier spells. This makes them incredibly useful overall compared to the other elemental attacks in this game. Well, the elemental magic attacks. Elemental physical attacks are still pretty good overall. And so, it's hunting time. I guess obligatory, be very quiet, we're hunting wabbits, reference. That is one way.
That area over there is kind of bugging me. Want to check it out?
So, there are actually quite a few paintings in this section. We're gonna have to chase this rabbit quite a way. And we may have to make use of these shortcuts.
Why don't we go check it out?
Let's see, I feel pretty confident that I can get the rabbit to the end. Okay, so now that you're there, I can approach you from the other angle. It's pretty much the Ilex Forest Farfetch puzzle from Pokemon Gold and Silver, if you've played that.
Here I go.
Kuromaru, it better not be you.
And once again, the rabbit gets away, but that's exactly what we wanted. And it's running all the way back to its starting point. So now that we have some shortcuts opened up, yeah, you might be able to figure out how we're supposed to corner this rabbit now looking at this part of the map. However, there's a lot of the map that currently is unexplored, so I'm going to go back and fill that in first. But take a moment to think about this. Persona Q actually has some pretty good puzzles, although some of them are pretty brutal later in the game. But yeah, you might be able to tell how we're going to corner the rabbit here. It's important that we open up both these shortcuts, because we kind of have to think outside the box this time. So we chase the rabbit forward this way first. But now the rabbit is there, we have to double back. I think you can probably tell what's going on right now. It's kind of weird that I wasn't getting into encounters there. Oh no!
There's one enemy, and it's strong. Be careful.
How is this a common shadow?
Sorry, weird laugh there, but I forgot Junpei said that! Nice lampshade hanging of gameplay mechanics there, Junpei. Yeah, Junpei, lampshades, how Atlas Games hate you. Now, I have actually since found out this thing actually resists Strength Bind, so maybe disarm is not the best strategy. But the problem is, yeah, I really need to panic this thing, and yeah. I think at this point, you are in one-shot range for Gary Stu, so maybe Gary Stu should actually defend this turn and have someone else heal him. Gonna go panic. You can also go for poison, but that means this thing will actually be able to attack you as well. I think it's important you have higher defense. I generally don't like single-target buffs in this game, as I've said before, but here it may be necessary, and let's debuff you. So if worse comes to worse, I do have my Sudokora foot. However, that will actually... Yeah, this is why you want to... Ow. Yeah. This is why you want to make sure you debuff its attack stat, or panic it. One of the two.
Here I go.
Preferably panic it. But yeah, the problem with Sudokora foot is that it will... I doubt this will hit. Oh, it did. Nice. Yeah, the problem with Sudokora foot is that it will...
Senkun and Raychan have been knocked out. Senkun, Raychan.
Just a generic line there. I'm going to try and not talk over the characters that much. I've noticed that is kind of an issue with this game, is that often I'll find myself talking over characters. There's a lot of voice clips in this one. I'll try to get better about that. But anyway, like I was saying... what was I saying? I was saying that... You know, I could actually do a planned heal here, and have... Because Garistu's faster than Yukari, he'll get his Rakam off on them before Yukari's healing goes off, so she will target Zen and Ray and she can heal them. One problem with Sudokora foot is that it will respawn the rabbit back to its original location. And one problem with healing Breeze, speaking of navigator skills that have some issues, is that, yeah, my basic physical attacks are not doing much here. And Garistu is already out of his Sub-Persona's SP pool, which is really bad. But yeah, the problem with Healing Breeze is that if you look at this, Zen and Ray went down before Healing Breeze activated, so, or they went down right after it activated. They don't have Healing Breeze anymore. Yeah, so you've got to remember that. Healing Breeze will go away if a character gets KO'd, so only the remaining 4 of us have Healing Breeze. But they did learn their Ice attack. That could be useful here. Right now, I kind of want Yukari to just defend. So now it's just a process of slowly wearing it down with Ice and hoping that its panic doesn't wear off too soon.
Here I go.
So here's Frozen Spear in action. It doesn't seem that powerful, but Zen later learns those card skills that buff the damage of his attacks. That was nice, actually. Alright, that's probably why I'm doing such little damage with my basic physical attacks, is because I'm using my standard weapons for that, whereas physical skills use the character's raw strength stat, but don't take into account the power of their weapon. Now, that's actually what someone in the comments was mentioning. Someone who's far more familiar with the Etrian Odyssey games than I am was talking about how, in Etrian Odyssey, all physical offensive skills, their damage is based off of the current weapon you have equipped. So, in this case, upgrading my weapons would... Like, if this was actually a real Etrian Odyssey game, which makes me sound like an Etrian Odyssey, quote-unquote, elitist, but anyway, I kind of hate using that term, but still. If this is a quote-unquote real Etrian Odyssey game, it would be a bit problematic for me to be not upgrading my and there's Tentarafu. You want to learn this on Ampusa for more reasons than one, but I'll get to that much, much later. Yeah, if this is a quote-unquote real Etrian Odyssey game, I really should be upgrading my basic physical weapons, because that would have been affecting the power of my physical attacks. In Persona games, though, your basic physical weapon only affects your standard attacks. Physical Persona skills...
Doesn't that area look kinda suspicious?
Physical Persona skills work purely based off of your strength stat, so it doesn't matter how weak your weapon is. Now, later in the game, we'll be getting some weapons that have 1 attack power, but have a very high chance of status. These weapons, I've heard, are nearly useless in Etrian Odyssey games, but are incredibly good in this game, because there are a lot of characters like Yukari who have nothing better to do with their basic physical attack. I mean, you know, you don't want to have Yukari use her basic bow attacks unless an enemy is weak to pierce, which almost nothing in this game is. So, giving her a weapon that has a chance of inflicting status, it means that when she has nothing better to do with her turn, you can do that. Anyway. I'm pretty sure there's an actual, like, biological reason for that. I know that prey animals like rabbits have eyes on the sides of their heads so that they can see predators coming more easily, whereas predators have eyes at the front of their heads. And we have a locked door, a first for this game. But yeah, predators have eyes at the front of their heads, obviously to better see and pursue prey.
I see.
I love how Aigis actually did consider outright destroying that lock. I was just thinking about something kind of weird then, but, anyway. I should stop talking about tangents because we're about to get an event here. One that's actually pretty famous.
Huh? I'm getting a faint reading of a door here.
A door? But there don't seem to be any nearby.
Oh, that must be it. There seems to be something beyond that door.
Now, anyone who's read or has seen pretty much any Alice in Wonderland adaptation should have a pretty good idea where this is going.
So you say. But this is a rather small door. Even Koromaru couldn't fit through.
Mitsuru-san, I found something.
Drink me. It's a beverage of some sort, but what's in it?
Once again, this is a reference to the original Alice in Wonderland. Now, here's a very bizarre piece of trivia. So that label on the Drink Me bottle is an actual texture, and if you manage to get a high quality rip of that texture, it's actually the tag of a brand of jackets. It's kind of weird. The developers must have just used whatever was lying around at the time.
Wasn't that from Alice in Wonderland? If I remember right, drinking it makes you small.
I'll go back to the actual on-topic of what the characters are talking about in a second, but that reminds me of how the text on the TV screens in this secret base dungeon in Persona 4 is actually taken from a French news broadcast. It's weird things like that. Sometimes game developers put in bizarre things as textures, knowing that the texture is so low quality in the game, no one will ever know where they actually took it from.
Huh? A drink from Licorice and Walnut Land that makes you smell like delicious food? I want some!
Licorice and Walnut Land, coming soon.
How would the human body manage that? Look, you really shouldn't.
I'll pass too.
Yeah, you don't want to get any smaller, right?
I mean, I was about to say that, but Junpei just read my mind.
It's not nice to tease people on sensitive subjects like that. May I analyze its components? It seems to contain nothing that deteriorates metal.
Well, I mean, that's something, but that still doesn't prove it's not poison.
It's too late for that.
Oh no.
How is it? It has a light, fruity bouquet.
Again, that doesn't prove it's not poison.
I wasn't asking how it tastes. No changes detected in my height, weight, or my bust, waist, or hip measurements.
Again, I guess as a robot though, so we don't know exactly how that'll affect humans.
In addition, there seems to be no components harmful to the human body.
However, now we know the answer we were all looking for. Thank you.
So it's safe, but it doesn't make you small. What good is it for then?
What should we do? Say, Akihiko, Shinjiro.
Oh no.
I mean, you have always been like this. Is it fun acting all high and mighty, criticizing everything?
What? You think I enjoy dealing with a crazy person who starts wrestling matches in the middle of the night?
Look who's talking. When you smuggled in that stray cat, I ended up getting scolded right alongside you.
If you're gonna bring that up, then maybe I should remind you about the time.
I actually do like some of these moments because they bring up some moments from Akihiko and Shinjiro's childhood in the orphanage they were both part of, which is, again, we don't really see a lot of that back in the original Persona 3.
Not again.
Are Akihiko-san and Shinjiro-san childhood friends?
Huh? I don't really know.
Yeah, as of the point where Persona Q takes place in the timeline, Shinjiro has only very recently joined the team. I brought that up earlier, but, yeah.
Yes, they are. They spent their childhood at the same institution.
Institution?
Well, it doesn't matter now.
Guess not.
If those two were shrunk, perhaps it would help quiet them down.
Be careful what you wish for, Mitsuru.
Who the hell would drink such a suspicious drink anyway?
Hell, I'll drink it just to prove what a coward you are.
Say what you want.
Yep, it's already happened.
Hey, stop!
You can't do that, can you? Then you'd better apologize to me. Say you're sorry you never cooked anything for me in your life.
What?
You're a pretty good cook, right? But I'm stuck eating beef bowls at Umiushi. You're fine with that?
You eat their beef bowls because you like them. I mean, why the hell should I cook for you? I'd rather drink this shit than cook for you and watch you slather that protein crap all over it.
Well, guess we have our guinea pigs now.
Yikes, there he goes.
Those idiots.
Man, is that really why they were fighting?
Whoa! Oh. They're like little dollies.
That liquid caused this?
Ha! That doesn't hurt one little bit. Last chance, say you're sorry. Ah, you hit me. Right back at you. Hurry up and say uncle. That's my line, damn it.
That's quite enough.
Hey, let me go. Don't get in the way of men having it out.
Do you want me to freeze you two together permanently?
Let's call it a truce.
I love that cutscene so much.
I hadn't thought they'd actually shrink so small.
Namely because Chipmunk Liam O'Brien and Chipmunk Grant George are amazing.
How strange. My component analysis was flawless.
Well, there's the thing. Well, one, this place doesn't really operate on the real laws of logic and reality, and two, you are a robot, so it probably wouldn't have affected you.
There's still 2 bottles of this drink left. Then I want some.
No, it's dangerous.
I wanna...
No.
I...
No.
Jeez.
Oh. You're not gonna drink this, right? then don't mind if I do.
Do I feel like Junpei has a cunning plan?
Hey, are you scheming something?
Oh, no, not at all. I just thought it'd be fun to get smaller and try a different viewpoint.
Viewpoint? Wait. You moron! You just want to look up our skirts!
Suddenly, Gary Sue is interested.
Ah, you figured it out?
There's absolutely no way I'm letting you drink that. Hey, you're our leader. Hurry up and decide what we're gonna do with these.
Well, at this point, I'm pretty sure Gary Sue wants to drink it right now.
Okay, so do it already. Wait. That means you'll be able to look up my skirt.
Well, he's a guy. It's the natural thing to do.
Fine. Our leader and I'll drink them. And that's final. Got it?
So, yes, it's naturally the Gary Stu thing to do, but one other thing, no matter what you say, Yukari and the protagonist end up being the two to drink.
Well, here goes. Down the hatch.
You guys are so tiny, Senpai.
We're not stuck like this, right? Hey, stop licking me! Stop it, Koromaru! Ah! Your tails!
It seems Koromaru-san's feral nature has awakened.
Damn! Everyone, head for that door!
I love how at the end, Akihiko just treats the whole thing incredibly seriously. It's like, this is an emergency, everyone get out now! And everyone is still chipmunked, by the way.
That was a good workout.
Again, chipmunk Liam O'Brien is amazing.
Don't make me run so much. That must be it. Let's hurry up. Grab it and get back. Yeah, right. I'm wet all over. Why did this happen?
And out of context lines! Yeah, please don't take that line out of context. Anyway, good thing the key's small enough for us to pick up and get out. Except the walls aren't drawn in that room. There, much better.
Oh, there they are. Welcome back. Yeah, we're back.
And nobody's chipmunked anymore.
Are you okay? Do you want some yakitori? No, thanks. The gamey smell is too much right now.
Well, you got the key.
Well done. C'est magnifique.
Don't come near me!
And now they're gonna have PTSD of Koromaru for the rest of their lives.
I lost control. I'm sorry. That is what he said.
Or not, it's impossible to hate Koromaru.
Don't worry about it. We're not pissed at you.
We get it, so don't lick me anymore.
When those two start quarreling again, feel free to lick them as much as you want, Koromaru.
And so, another wacky adventure has come to pass. Meanwhile...
What's the matter, my sister?
2 doors, and the power of the wild card affecting even its surrounding. Is there another with the power of the wild card here?
Elizabeth?
Well, we already knew that from earlier scenes in this game, but good to get confirmation. The characters in story figuring out. And I love this line, it just says, in any case, you obtain the key. So, this event right here is pretty... Like, this event happens in both the P3 and P4 storylines, but this is one of the few events to drastically differ, at least to some extent, in both versions. So now we can unlock the door.
Hey, man.
Every dungeon has at least one event that is pretty considerably different across the 2 routes, and that's the event for this dungeon. So, on a separate file, I'll be trying to show the other side's version of that event. However, I will be doing that a bit later at this point. And once again... I love Koromaru. Yeah, I had a feeling Shinjiro wouldn't mind. So now we can go through this door. Here's the thing, though. I don't want all my progress here to be lost. So I would definitely...
Power spot things there again.
Actually, we interrupt this for power spot.
There's something really off about that wall over there. Look at it.
Okay, that wall is one way, and we have opened up a shortcut back here. I think I'll leave for now and save, but I think I will be continuing this video. Okay, something that I should bring up here regarding power spot ambushes. If you're on the last floor, the power spot ambush is pretty much 90% of the time going to be a giant shadow. So, do not choose this option unless you're willing to risk being preemptive struck by a burning beetle, which generally won't end well for you, so I'm going to say no. Yeah, that's one thing you have to be really careful of in these later floors. I should probably either sell or... I was about to say convoy, but I guess it's kind of like a convoy. That normal bullet. Anyway, we've explored over 50% of the floor now. We... Actually, did we? We were leveled up to level 7, didn't we? So maybe I should check out the Velvet Room. First, healing. You'll notice that Akihiko and Shinjiro did not appear in that scene where Ken is running around patting Koromaru. There's probably a good reason for that. Wow, we barely have anything. Yeah, we only fought about 2 enemies in that area as well. Okay, we do have some new fusions we can do. Nata Taishi, who's a very strong physical-based persona, and Sarasvati, who's a pretty effective magic-based persona, who also has Safety Prayer, which gathers somewhat safely from power spots. It just reduces the chance of you getting ambushes a little bit, but it's only somewhat. Pure Memento is kind of nice too. But, let's see, who do we fuse to make you? Agarthion? Nope, I want to keep those 2 personas. Kind of want to keep Ame no Uzume as well. McCoy and Slime is not a bad idea, but you are both physical-based personas that have a lot of status skills. What else can I do? Anzu and Sandman. 2 personas that I'm not using at all. The downside of that is I only get 1 skill inherited, but what you start with is already not bad. Twin Slash is pretty good for this point in the game. Or, no, I'm not fusing Wei and Pusa right now. So, yeah, the amount of skills that get passed down to a persona is based on the number of skills that the component personas have. And even if a skill is not inheritable, like in this case Garu, it still counts for the purpose of the total number of skills. But yeah, this is only enough skills to pass down 1 skill. So, I guess in this case we'd probably pass down Sleeper Punch. And yeah, you can skip the fusion animation, which I'll probably be doing from now on. Nata Taishi no longer requires an Elizabeth request nor a defuse, so that's good. Azumi and Nat, well yeah, it's always annoying when you have a fusion recipe that requires something you just made. Impusa and Mokoi, that's not a terrible idea, especially since you have high SP to make use of those status skills. The problem is I want you to get Tentarafu. Or Onmoraki and Ukabak. Oh, you will learn Panic Circle soon, and Panic Circle's nice to have. However, I will be getting Tentarafu soon too. And I kind of prefer the Bind Circles to Panic Circle, but Panic Circle's still good. There will be later personas that do have... Yes, here's the dilemma of what to fuse and what not to fuse. To fuse or not to fuse, that is the question. So it will take you a little while to learn Panic Circle. Yeah, as per the original Persona games, Personas take much longer to level up than your main characters do, but there is something we can get that will speed their leveling up process, but we won't unlock that for another few dungeons. So here's the question, I could actually just transfer over Pulimpa and Scarecrow over to Sarasvati. And although that will mean that I have something with both Panic and Buffa, which is kind of what going to be redundant with Impusa once Impusa hits level 7. However, see again, I could get Panic Circle. It's a bit of a dilemma, but... I think I might actually go for this. Pulimpa and Scarecrow. How much SP does, only 14. Yeah, I would rather have these status skills on a much higher stat persona. So, yeah, we have Sarasvati now. who showed up as a very late game persona in, oh, I could actually fuse another Ukabark if I wanted to, but I'd have to kind of start again with my leveling of it. I still want to see if I can fuse my own Ame no Uzume, but I probably have to get rid of my current one in order to do that. You can just straight up dismiss personas if you don't want them, but don't want to fuse them either. That actually might be not a bad idea, because Ame no Uzume is a really, really good, let me just check. Yeah, I can't really make much new out of you, and Ame no Uzume is a really good navigator persona, and I'm actually gonna just get rid of you. Now that I've done that, I'm gonna go back in and see if I can fuse an Ame no Uzume with other things that I currently have. And I did not mean to go to the nurse's office. Wrong Elizabeth location. Let's just say we might not be having that problem later, though. Okay, can I actually make my own? Yes, I can make an Ame no Uzume. And it does not use my current navigator persona as material. And even if it would, I can't pass down Hunting Prayer anyway, because, yeah. Well, I guess I'll leave Ame no Uzume out of my persona list for now and see if I can fuse a better one later. That Renewal Ray is really, really good against the first boss, and I kind of want that going forward. But anyway, now that we're back... Okay, I have saved. I think we can afford to do a little bit more labyrinth exploration in this part. I did spend a bit more time in the Velvet Room than I thought I would, but I save a lot of time on these videos by cutting out battles, so it's kind of hard to estimate how long the final video will actually be. For example, the previous parts, it ended up being about 35 or I think 33 minutes, but the original footage before cuts was 55 minutes. So yeah, as I get through this playthrough, I'll probably get better at estimating the lengths of parts. Until then, though, and now we actually do want to take this one-way path. I haven't been sidestepping as much as I should be. Okay, now we can go straight here to the first bunny maze. And I guess while we're walking, I can talk about something. So, the encounter rate's being bizarrely merciful on me. That scene with Koromaru and the... Oh no.
Shadows. Some of them are unidentified. Let's get fired up!
Well, it's time to get revenge on the agitating Hublary, I guess. It is, I believe, week 2. Was it Wind and Light or Wind and Dark? Wind and Light. Good. Which means everything here is weak to wind. I think Yukari does get Magaru relatively... Actually, is it soon or not so soon? I'm not sure. Anyway... don't think there's really all that much I can do, although I could go for Frozen Spear. Let's see if I can get my revenge on the Hublaries. Although, wait a minute, didn't I already conclude that having my Hammer skill on Yukari was a bad idea? Oh yeah, not only do these things hit pretty hard for this point in the game, they can also debuff your defense. Now, I forget if that's because the piercing attack does less damage or because this thing's resistant to ice. I guess we'll find out next turn when I get to check its status. Nice crit there. We could get an all-out attack here if we're lucky. Wow.
We're on a real roll. Should we go for broke?
But we did get it, nice. Even though this is probably not going to KO them all. Because I think the all-out attack is affected by your physical weapons, though I'm not entirely sure about it. Actually, no, that did a pretty solid amount of damage.
Leader, your defense has been reduced.
It does resist
Please be
ice.
careful.
Good to know. And in fact, disarm might not be a bad idea, but I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to get rid of it this turn with my boosted characters. I'm going to stick with Impulsa for a bit, because I definitely want Tentara through. Though Panic Circle's also nice. I like the... Oh, I was about to say I like the name of the skill, but... Ugh, ow. Well, good news is I have Gary Stu boosted.
Shinjiro-senpai is unconscious.
No comment on that, apparently. And yeah, it does resist fire and ice. One thing that I actually have not mentioned yet is that in this game, and this might also be an Etrian Odyssey carryover, enemies will never... that I kind of saw coming because he was debuffed. But, yeah, these things did not give me this much trouble on my practice runs. I must be really underleveled at this point in the game.
Done here.
And that means no one step closer to Palinka, I guess.
Everyone.
But I guess the 2 underleveled people leveled up to level 5. But Yeah, this might be a carryover from Etrian Odyssey, but nothing nulls, absorbs, or repels anything in this game except light and dark. There are enemies that nullify instant death, but that's the only thing that'll ever get nullified. It's kind of weird, but it does mean that you don't need to worry too much about experimenting with elements in this game as compared to other Shin Megami Tensei games where you usually do need to worry about that, because often you'll just hit a repel and waste your turns. Or make the enemy smirk, or whatever the game mechanics are feeling like doing at the time. Okay.
Huh?
One
Doesn't
way.
that wall look a little different from the others?
I'll come back to you. So, the thing that I was actually going to talk about is that scene with...
There's something really off about that wall over there. Look at it.
Oh, right, yeah, I was right about Zen and Rei getting a new piece of armor soon. It's only 2 points more, but it does have a slight increase to HP and SP, so I guess I should go for that. And their Serene Journey means they'll actually regenerate that little bit of SP. I probably should have switched around some of my items, but oh well. What I was going to say, though, is that scene where the characters get shrunk and chased around by a dog is actually a reference to something that happens in the original Alice in Wonderland, but it's only from the book. It's never been in... Apparently, it has not been in any adaptation. So that shows that the people who made this game really did their research. Oh boy. But what I was saying is that dog scene, yeah, it shows that the creators of this game really did their homework on Alice in Wonderland. A lot of people were wondering why Alice in Wonderland was like referenced so much in this game, because it's not a Japanese book, but there are a lot of very famous works of Western literature that have had Japanese translations, and have had pretty high-profile Japanese translations. Oh great, that thing recovered from panic. Please hit, Hummer. Good. I know that there's Japanese translations of Shakespeare that are pretty high profile. I know that for some reason Japan really loves Heidi of the Alps. So much so that I'm pretty sure Heidi of the Alps is actually its Japanese title and not even its English title.
Leave it to me.
I'm not really familiar. Oh hey, follow-up attack. Yeah, again, a single shot one. I prefer the multi-hitting follow-up attacks. And it's lost its bind. However, it's probably going to be dead soon. Yeah, there are quite a few works of Western literature that are arguably more well-known in Japan than they are in the West. But Alice in Wonderland must be really popular over there.
My persona has powered up.
But I thought I'd actually take this time to, speaking of Alice in Wonderland, talk about my general experience with Alice in Wonderland adaptations and just what I feel about them. And I'll start by saying, I never liked the Disney Alice in Wonderland, and I've actually, the animated one at least, and I've actually seen someone else in the comments who agrees with me. I just always found it apparently like...
Don't you think that wall looks kind of suspicious?
Alright, that is one way. So, this is a one-way passage that leads back to the start of this area. But what I was saying was that I've never actually liked the Disney version of Alice in Wonderland. I think Walt Disney...
There's one enemy, but it's strong.
I knew it would be a burning beetle. I think we'll be uncovering a path back to the start of the area soon, so I think maybe I can actually talk about this while, that is pretty fast, actually. I should have activated Healing Breeze, I'm dumb. Okay, at least Zen and Rei are getting boosted and they'll be able to heal everyone next turn. But I guess I can kind of talk about this story. So I think apparently Walt Disney mentioned that he hated the original Alice in Wonderland and just didn't care about faithfulness at all when he adapted it. It's still, the weird thing is, I like the depiction of the Alice in Wonderland world in the Kingdom Hearts series, but I've always just, I don't know, I've never liked the Disney version of Alice in Wonderland. I watched it once, I wasn't a... Oh, I follow-up attack. I watched it once, I wasn't exactly a kid, I was probably an early teenager when I first watched it.
Hey, Junpei, get a grip.
Man, this is tough, even for me.
Again, I like those little interactions. But yeah, I wouldn't exactly say I was a kid when I watched it, but yeah, I was kind of like an early teenager. And, I don't know, I just always found like there's not really a plot at all. It's just a bunch of random events that just kind of happen. Have I Did I Raku-unded it, didn't I? Yes, I did. It's just kind of a bunch of random events that just sort of happen without any real rhyme or reason. I guess that does make sense for Alice in Wonderland, but even the original Alice in Wonderland had at least a tiny bit of structure to it. And, I don't know, I just didn't really like it all that much. The only parts of it that I kind of liked, and this is more characters than actual, like, movie, were the Mad Hatter and the Queen of Hearts. And the weird thing is, despite the fact that I don't like the... Please tell me I aimed that at the right row. Good, I did. Wow, nice clutch survival. Not a clutch survival, that was actually slime. Oh, nice clutch healing skill aim there. But yeah, even though I don't like the Disney version, I do think the Disney animated Mad Hatter is probably my favorite Mad Hatter in any version. And the Disney Queen of Hearts is actually pretty good as well. I think she's actually one of the few things that is reasonably faithful to the original Alice in Wonderland. Although, like many adaptations, they kind of merged her character with the Red Queen from Through the Looking Glass. That's actually why a lot of adaptations of Alice in Wonderland are kind of a bit weird. It's because almost all of them kind of mash together the original Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and the sequel, Alice Through the Looking... Well, it's actually called Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. I've never actually read any of the books, but I did read up on a lot of articles on them to prepare for this playthrough. And I found out that Lewis Carroll is actually not the writer's original name. It's actually a pseudonym.
That one made even my blood run cold. Guess my persona's a bit stronger.
Safeguard's kind of nice on someone like Shinjiro. Oh, you're going to be learning Disarm eventually. So, yeah, never really liked the animated Disney version of Alice in Wonderland. And speaking of the other...
Isn't there something strange
I think
about
it's
that
also
wall?
Disney. And it's coming back. There's the...
Huh? Isn't there something strange about that wall?
Then there's the Tim Burton version, which I'm kind of gonna probably offend some people by saying this.
Power spot things.
I don't hate the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland nearly as much as many people do. I actually thought it wasn't, like, it was pretty... I'd say it was average. It wasn't amazing, but I don't think it's a bad movie at all. And there were some things in it that I kind of liked better than well, I mean, it's hard for me to like much less than the... I mean, the original animated Disney Alice in Wonderland might actually be one of my least favorite Disney animated movies. One thing I will say about that version, though, that I will say is incredibly dumb, and I'm extremely confused as to why the director would even do this.
Yeah,
So,
I will. Same goes for you too.
see, again, I love those interactions. I know I get distracted a lot, but I love the interactions between Junpei and Yukari in this game. Like, a lot of them are actually... They tease each other, but they're also friendly to each other when things get really serious. Anyway... this could be bad. But, yeah, so, that thing in the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland that I'm completely confused as to why the director would even do this. Without giving away too many spoilers, there's a character in that film who is voiced by Christopher Lee. And this character gets about 2 lines before his tongue is cut out and he can't speak for the remainder of the film. Okay, I'm sorry if I get loud for a second, but... Why would you get Christopher Lee to play a character who only gets 2 lines? Why would you do that? That makes no sense. It just... Why? It's just one of the stupidest casting choices I've ever seen in a movie. It was just... Why?
Here I go.
Oh, I still, like, I don't even know what was going through their heads when they thought that was a good idea. They're just like, oh, we got a character who only has 2 lines, and then gets his tongue cut out and can't speak for the rest of the film. Oh, we'll hire one of the most famous actors of all time, and probably a stupidly expensive actor, to play that character.
Peter, your defense has been reduced. Please be careful.
It's just, I don't even know. It's so bizarre. Anyway, though... That version. I haven't actually seen the sequel film to that, but I've heard conflicting reports, like people who hated the first Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland seem to like the second one, but considering that I didn't mind the first one, I probably won't like the second one. And I think the second one also had the problem of coming out around the time that Johnny Depp had a lot of, was going through a lot of issues, such as the infamous case where Australian immigration almost had his dogs put down, which is... that was a thing that became pretty famous on Australian TV around that time. Australia is incredibly strict on introduced diseases and things like that.
That enemy is weak to wind.
Good. Let's keep wearing them down.
Then, listen to our leader, okay?
So there's my thoughts on that version, but overall, my personal favorite adaptation of Alice in Wonderland, and this is pretty much pure nostalgia though.
Good job, everyone!
Because I did watch this adaptation when I was a kid, and I feel like it's probably one of those things that if I go back to it nowadays, I'd probably not think it was very good. So, like, I'm not sure what the overall, like, whether it stands up these days or not. That one-way shortcut's pretty much a way of getting around that FOE.
There are 3 shadows.
Enemies, Zen!
But I suppose I can fight these things while continuing to talk about, my thoughts on various adaptations. That one was a 1999 BBC telly movie. And yeah, that was the adaptation of Alice in Wonderland I watched as a kid, and thus the one that kind of stuck with me the most out of any adaptation I saw. And, I don't know, it's one that I've always had fond memories of, but again, it's probably nostalgia talking. But it does, like, I looked it up now, and it does have some pretty big-name British actors in it. It has Robbie Coltrane, the actor who played Hagrid in Harry Potter, as Tweedledum. And the Queen of Hearts in that film is played by the one who plays Rita Skeeter in Harry Potter, which is pretty funny. And I actually think she did a pretty good job of it, too. And there's also, like, Gene Wilder's in it,
Let's do this, Hermes.
Martin Short is in it. There's a lot of people in that film that I would only kind of recognize later. I haven't actually seen it since I was a kid, but I remember, it was a film that my parents actually taped when it was on TV, so I had, like, a VHS of it that still had all the ads in it. You know, back in those days where, you know, taping things was still legal. Well, I mean, technically you were supposed to destroy it after you watched it for the first time, but yeah. My mother's a lawyer, I know obscure copyright. Specifically, my mother is a copyright lawyer, so I know obscure copyright law trivia. But, yeah, what I was saying was, that adaptation, I don't know, it always sort of stuck with me. I still remember parts of it, and from what I've read of plot summaries of the original books, it seems to be pretty faithful to the books. It does do the thing again, though, where it kind of combines, elements of Through the Looking Glass with the original. And my only other real experience with Alice in Wonderland is that apparently my dad was in a school play of it as a kid, and he played the Mad Hatter. And he seems to still remember doing the trial scene with the Queen of Hearts, where he basically just had to say, "I'm a poor man, your majesty," repeatedly.
We're invincible.
Alice in Wonderland is a very weird story. I still can't believe that it was written by a mathematician. That's actually true.
Please heal me.
I've never actually heard Junpei say that before, but I guess I'll oblige, and I'll have Yukari do it. Is this an event? No, it's just a random dead end. And glorious map completion. Now with that, I think it's probably about time to leave. This part's probably gone on quite long, even with, that is an event.
Bothering me about that area. I wonder what it is.
I guess we should do this one while we're here. Oh! Right. Pop-out Picture Book 2. Revenge of the Book. Well, since there's a monster on the front cover, and since previously the thing on the front cover came out of the book and became real, it's obvious this one is more suspicious than the other one. Let's leave it for now. I think I'm actually gonna head back and save. Yeah, that is true, but we'll come back for it when we're ready. For now, let's just head up to this door. And we've explored 67% of this floor now. I think that's probably as good a time as any to head back. And then I'll save, and we'll continue our exploration next time.